UFC 299, Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Cheeto Vera this Saturday in Miami, Florida. And we got a crazy card. There's going to be some high highs and some very low lows. You just know it. That's just how the UFC inevitably works. It's a sad sport. People are getting brutally KO'd. Their careers are falling on their head. It's a sad sport at the end of the day. But we love it because there's such beautiful chaos in all of this. A organized chaos that will never be truly organized. And only true fans understand what I mean by this. But the first fight of the night is not the greatest fight on the planet. A bit of a stinker, but let's get right into it. Joanne Calderwood versus Marna Moroz, or however you say her first name. I do apologize for butchering that name. But I got Moroz. Joanne Wood is older, and she's 38. She lost to Lauren Murphy. I can't trust you after you lose to Lauren Murphy. Moroz, probably by decision, hopefully by submission. Okay. On to the next one. This one should be a little more fun. It could be a stinker as well. Asu Amabayev versus CJ Vergara. I got Amabayev. CJ Vergara is mid at best. Um, he Almabayev is a serious wrestling threat. He was taking down Ode Osborne at will, and he was just able to hold him and eventually submit him. Something that Charles Johnson couldn't even do. Who I always have regarded Charles Johnson as a very good litmus test to how good you are. So I think that's impressive. CJ Vergara, as I said, hasn't fought the best of competition. Um, he's been submitted before. He's really just not that impressive. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. He's definitely a knockout threat more than anything. He's been submitted twice in his career. I I don't know anything about his gym at all. He Yeah, he lost to Ode, who Almabayev beat. But yeah, I got Asu Almabayev. That should be an interesting fight. I think it's going to be Almabayev able to take him down consistently, beat him up, probably submit him. Up next, we have a murder on our hands. Robelis Despain versus Josh Parisian. Now, Josh Parisian is your typical heavyweight can. He's out of shape, doesn't look like he should be classified as a professional athlete. And I'm not saying I do, just letting you guys know. But Robelis Desbane, let's talk a little bit about this guy's. Uh, let's start with his stature. He is 6'7", Cuban lab experiment. Not the only lab experiment tonight, just so you guys know. But this guy not only is 6'7" and looks like LeBron James, it's outrageous his physique, but he also is a bronze medalist, Taekwondo KO artist, and in his early MMA career, this is his first UFC fight, but in his early MMA career, his last three fights have all ended before the 15-second marker, and in total, it was 20 seconds in the last three fights. He is terrifying. I predict this fight to be Robelis Despain. It's going to be probably like a head kick KO in the first 35 seconds of this. No, Josh isn't taking him down. He's going to look at this dude and shit his pants. It's going to be a brutal night for Josh Parisian. And I want you guys to let me know down in the comments how much money it would take for you to fight Robelis Despain, because that's probably what this fight is going to look like. Like you are stepping in the octagon with a 6'7" LeBron James Taekwondo KO artist in Ngannou with wheel kicks. What do we do? The only problem is he's old. I wish he came into the UFC earlier, but we can't have fun around here, can we? On to the next one. Robelis Despain by KO, 30, 40 seconds, maybe a minute at the most. But on to the next one. Mikel Pereira versus Mikel Alashechek. I probably said your name wrong. I'm sorry, bro. The battle of the Michaels or the Mikels, whatever you want to call them. These guys are going to scrap. I think it just comes down to Mikel Pereira. He's in his patient boy era. He is going to decision a lot more. He's on a win streak, a good one. I think a 6-fight win streak. Uh, he's beaten not the greatest of competitions, but Nico Price is cool. Santiago Ponzinibbio is always a fun little scrap. He he hurt Petrosky bad. Petrosky, that was brutal. Um, yeah, I got Mikel Pereira. I just think that Michael Olachechek just isn't that guy. And I think that the athleticism, speed of Mikel, because Mikel is like a freak athlete as well. He's not the lab experiment I'm talking about, but he's close. But yeah, Michael, probably by KO. On to the next one. Ion Kutalaba versus Felipe Lins. This is an interesting fight. I think I'm gonna go with Ion. Ion has had the better wins. He's younger. And, like he beat Khalil Roundtree. He KO'd Khalil Roundtree, the Muay Thai savage himself. Okay? He Felipe Lin's best win is OSP, and that was OSP's last fight. You want to talk about someone who doesn't care about their career? We'll talk about someone else who doesn't care about their career later in this breakdown. But Felipe Lins beat a clear a OSP that was just on his last leg. He didn't look like he cared at all that entire fight. That his entire career, we could say. But on to the next one. Iancu Talaba. He's younger, 8 years younger. He's gonna beat up Felipe Lins, I hope. And maybe we get to see a Felipe Lins retirement and a Joanne Calderwood retirement. That would be quite the night. Let's go on to the real prelims. Pedro Munoz versus Kyler Phillips. Woo! This is sick. This is where this card really just takes another step up. This is the crescendo that this card needs. Pedro Munoz versus Kyler Phillips. It's low key similar to the main event. Kyler Phillips is a slower, less dynamic version of Sean O'Malley. He has a very similar style. He's in and out of the pocket. He's bouncing. He's all around the cage. He uses every inch of the cage. But Pedro Munoz has crazy leg kicks and throws absolute nuclear power every single time. He's had a rough stretch of his career, Pedro, for sure. He's lost 3 of his last 5, and he had a draw again. He had a no contest against Sean O'Malley in a fight that he was getting beat up. Let's say he was 4-1, 1-4 in his last 5. That's pretty bad. But he's really durable. Kyler Phillips doesn't hit that hard. I could just see Pedro just being more durable, and Kyler slows down from the leg kicks, and then Pedro is able to break him down as the fight goes down, probably by decision. He hasn't really been knocking anyone out since Cody Garbrandt. So, yeah, Pedro Munoz by decision is where we're going there. Up next, Mateusz Scamrot versus Rafael Dos Anjos. Now, I used to love RDA, but he's older. See, I told you this is gonna be a sad card, but he's older. He's just not the same guy anymore, and he's not as good as he used to be. Gamrot is a hustler. He's so hungry. He is ready to push an outrageous pace, and he's probably not worried about RDA submitting him. I mean, who's the last? I don't even know. Let me look real quick. Who is the last guy RDA submitted? Okay, that wasn't a very good decision for me. He submitted Brian Barberina. Who was the last exciting person that he submitted? Okay, Kevin Lee in 2019 was his last submission. He does have 11 subs. That's impressive, but it's just like lately he hasn't been able to get those submissions. Brian Barberena, his name kind of describes his style, but so he's not the greatest. If you get him on the ground, he's kind of like gonna flop around and stuff. So yeah, I got I got Gamrot. He's just too hungry. He's pushes too. His pace is outrageous. Um, yeah, Gamrot, Scamrot. He's gonna. It might even be a robbery decision from him. Like I could 100% see that. Similar to this next fight. Caitlin, isn't this Caitlin Chukagian? What the heck is this new last name? Someone tell me below what happened with her name. What changed here? Okay, versus Macy Barber. Caitlin Kamara. I'm gonna call her Chukagian because that's the name I know, and this is harder to pronounce than Chukagian. So, they both stink. Boo! Where's your tomatoes at? Boom. This is one of those fights we don't care about. Put this in the prelims, please. Make this one of those in between fights in the prelims so I can go take a piss. But probably a Macy Barber win. Caitlyn is again older. She's never been great. Her output is like the thing that her output and her making noises when she strikes usually wins her fights. And if you think that's a joke, go watch her fights that she's won. She like barely outlands these people and doesn't have more power than them most of the time. And somehow she still wins these fights that are like, oh, she probably lost them. It's just her making these noises wins her fights. Um, but on to the next one. Macy Barber, boring fight, decision. Yay. On to the next one. Curtis Blades versus Jailton Almeida. This is the lab experiment that has gone loose on the heavyweight division. Look at this guy. This is one of the scariest human beings I've ever seen. How do you look like that, Jalton? What are you doing? Come on, share at least. Share, like, send it my way. Like, I'm trying to look like that. I'll work, but I need what you're on before I start working. But Curtis Blades, the plotty man, Mr. Hesitant himself, he has some terrible takedowns. He's kind of like this weekend's card, Gaziev, like eating the fence half the time. It feels like. Nah, Curtis Blades is a good wrestler, but Jalton Almeida was able to basically take down Derek Lewis at will. Curtis Blades failed every single takedown attempt on Derek Lewis, who looks like a fish when you grab on his legs. He usually can't defend the takedown, but what he can do is he glitches his way back to his feet. That's Derek Lewis's cheat code. But Jalton Almeida was able to just keep taking him down and really impress people. I mean, people hated that he wasn't really like trying to kill Derek Lewis, but what are you gonna do with a 260-pound man trying to be a fish under you, just trying to get up all night? But yeah, Jalton Almeida. I hope that we get to see him pick up Curtis Blades and bring him over to his corner and have his corner yell at him while Jalton Almeida eventually submits him. That's what I want to see. I think it could happen. Get this guy tested. Hide your family from this guy. This is a scary dude. But on to the next one and on to the main card. We are starting off with an absolute bang here. Peter Yan versus Sung Yadong. Let me tell you guys, there's a couple of fights here on this main card that I have been so back and forth on. I just had said in a video that I'm taking Song Yadong to win this fight. And since I made that video, my decision has gone back and forth multiple times. I have been so uncertain, but I want to stick with my gut. My original feeling was Peter Yan by decision. And here's the thing. Song Yadong is probably not getting knocked out. He might get a doctor stoppage. That has happened in his career before, so you always got to bring it up, but I doubt it. Song Yadong is super durable. He's super powerful. But Peter Yan is crazy, bro. I rewatched all his fights multiple times in this last week trying to figure this fight out. And Peter Yan's counters, his ability to catch shots on his arms and pull immediately after is wild. His ability to do these interesting trips is so wild. Do I see him holding down Song Yadong at any point after one of these trips? No, but he's going to trick him. He's going to I think early, like in the beginning of this first round, Song Yadong is going to be on the pressure. He's going to be throwing out his combos, but he does slow down. His striking isn't all that you want. It's good. Like, ultimately, he's so powerful. He hits hard. Look at this dude. He's so fast, too. But The thing, like my argument for Song was like Peter Yan is definitely smaller than Song Yadong. Like physically, Song Yadong is like a much stronger dude. So I just like there's like a part of me that thinks Song Yadong is just gonna bully Peter Yan. Maybe he because he has a crazy gas tank. So if Song Yadong does come in with this outrageous pace and start shooting takedowns, which he's not really known for, but I think he's going to come in with a good game plan. He saw what happened when you just shoot at him because the problem with Peter Yan is how often he shells up. Because guess what? You can do one of two things. You can go around his guard, throw hooks, and you're probably going to get countered. Sorry, I hit my mic. Um, you're probably going to get countered in the pocket if you do that. Or while he's got his guard up, you can shoot on him and he's wide open to get taken down. He's probably going to get up from a lot of the takedowns, but there's a reason why he would like why Marab tried taking him down 49 times because he's open. He constantly is putting his guard all the way up, and he has no ability to drop his hands in time to catch you and sprawl. So, if Song Yadong's scam is telling him to shoot when he does that, that's how he wins this fight. And then I think he can like, he's more physical than Peter Yan. Peter Yan's a savage, though. So, that's why I have him winning this fight. Peter Yan is so good, outrageously good at his counter boxing and his regular boxing. And when he starts pressuring you, there's not many boxers in the UFC that are able to hunt you down like that. He keeps his guard super high. He stays behind his jab. He loves his combos. His combos are crazy. Like him throwing hooks into back fists, knocking down Corey Sandhagen. Oh my gosh, that was filthy. He's so slick, but Song is so durable. So that's why I don't see him getting knocked out, but I do see Peter Yan winning the exchanges. So unless Song Yadong comes in here with the intention to shoot 20 plus times in this fight, I don't think he wins. After watching it many times, and I I hope this is gonna be a fun fight though. Song's gonna show his durability, and maybe he shows us something new in his striking that really takes him to another level because he's sick. Everywhere else, he's really good. So, on to the next one, though. Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. I love this fight. Another great fight. I'm notorious in my friend group for picking against Gilbert Burns. I do it all the time. I don't always want to. I don't have a thing against him. I just think he's going to lose a lot of his fights. I thought he was going to lose against Wonder Boy. I thought he was going to lose against Shemaev. I thought he was going to lose against Kamaru Usman. Um, so I have a friend who's really into him. So I always try to give him the benefit of the doubt, you know? But Jack, let me tell you a little bit about Jack. We were just talking about the counterboxing of uh, Peter Yan. So I don't. I think Jack is more of a pressure boxer than a counter boxer, but he's so good. at establishing a jab. And one of the things I really remembered from watching all these fights so many times back to really like break down this fight is Gilbert Burns is is very exposed to a jab, and especially when people are switching stances on him and he can't see him coming, he really struggles with jabs. Kamaru Usman dropped him. Hamzat dropped him with a jab. Um, it and constantly Jorge. The only thing he was really landing was that jab. So I think Jack has one of the best jabs in the entire sport, bar none. His body combos. I just see because Gilbert. Okay, I always have to say this safely. Gilbert Burns. He's an incredible jujitsu artist, but he doesn't submit people in the UFC. So that doesn't mean he's bad at jujitsu. He's one of the greatest jujitsu players that we've ever had in this sport. But he just doesn't finish people in the UFC with submissions. He's more of a control guy when he does take you down. He is position over submission. He's more like a wrestler than a jiu-jitsu guy for the most part. But Jack has good takedown defense. The main thing that like is scary with Jack is how often he pulls the guillotine when Hafez when he would shoot, he would just latch up the guillotine and give up bottom, and it was cringe every single time. Don't be silly and pull a gilly. That's been what I've been hearing my for so long. That's what these fighters need to realize is pulling the gilly. Like everyone is so high level in MMA with their jujitsu defense because that's like the first thing for strikers now is like how to play jujitsu defense and wrestling defense. That's the first thing that a guy like Sean O'Malley or Israel Adesanya is focusing on when they enter their MMA careers. So all of them know how to put their head on the right side, get out of that guillotine, and now you're on bottom, sometimes in mount. Like it's like, whoa, let's not do that, Jack. Please don't do that. But I think his team will have drilled that out of him. And I really hope that his team drilled that out of him. He's training with a guy like Volk, so they're gonna train specifics, you know. But I can't do a Volk accent to save my life, so I do apologize. But I think ultimately Jack is just gonna be too slick. His boxing, his counters, his kicks, his power. Burns is coming off a bad shoulder injury. I got Jack Della Maddalena probably by KO in the second round. That's going to be my official decision. This was one of the hardest fights for me to pick on this card. But there's one that's even harder, and it's up next. Kevin Holland versus Michael Page. I have been dreading making this pick. I was pretty convinced on Jack. I wasn't 100% on him. But Michael Page and Kevin Holland are like two lost souls that are gonna combine into one. They're so similar in their careers in a way, but like neither of them have won against the best fighters in the world. Michael Page beats a bunch of plumbers, and then gets sent to the Shadow Realm by Douglas Lima, you know? And you have Kevin Holland, who's on a streak. And then he loses to, wasn't it Marvin Vittori that was for? No, it was Derek. He lost to Derek Brunson. And then he lost to Marvin Vittori. Like, and then, like, he doesn't. Marvin Vittori is such a bad loss. He was so passive in that Stephen Thompson fight. It just feels like he doesn't take his career serious. It really does. He only wins against older guys. So maybe MVP is in that old guy discussion. But let's look at Kevin Holland wins since he joined the UFC. Charlie Ontiveros. Let's go all the way back. So he got beat up by Thiago Santos. That was a big boy though. John Phillips submitted him. Gerald Mearshart decision. Yeah. Beat Alessio Di Chirico. That's okay. Lost to Brendan Allen. Beat Anthony Hernandez, but not the same Anthony Hernandez we saw the other week. Knocked out Joaquin Buckley. That's a nasty KO if you want to see something nasty. Uh, Went to a decision with Darren Stewart and submitted Charlie Ontiveros. And then I would say this is where his career like really took off, and we all saw him kind of as a prospect at this point. Was his knockout against Jacare off the back? Still one of the most outrageous angles to knock someone out from, which is like what shows his true potential. That's his true potential is that version that had so much power from any angle, was able to knock out old. Just let me go back to before old Jacare. There's really old Jacare, okay? Then he loses to old Derek Brunson. And after that fight with Derek Brunson would win against Darren Till, and then lose against Jared Cannonier, then lose against Drickus, and then win in the PFL. But Derek Brunson's a bad loss, I think. Derek Brunson is not that good. Middleweight's not that good. So if you can't win in middleweight against Derek Brunson and Marvin Vittori, I don't know how to judge your career. I think Marvin Vittori is one of the most mediocre at everything UFC fighters of all time. He's fun to watch though. Like he's funny, dude. But went to a no contest with Kyle Dawkins. I mean, that was the headbutt, right? That was crazy. But then he beats Alex Oliveira, old. Tim Means, old. Loses to Hamza, loses to Stephen Thompson, barely looks like he cares. Barely knocks out Santiago Ponzinibbio. Submits Michael Chiesa. That's impressive. That was impressive. I'll give him that. Then loses to Jack Della Maddalena. Didn't look too great. There's I don't know. I just got to go with MVP. I mean, yeah, his level of opponent is much worse. But but I think he's so fast. So is Kevin Holland though. You know, this is why it's so hard because they both have such terrible careers if you really look at it. um But Michael Page, his highlights are outrageous. It's hard to go away from the highlight guy, you know? And Kevin Holland has some sick highlights too. But I think I'm going to go with Michael Page. He just looks like he cares. This is like an all or nothing thing for him. Like he's been in Bellator for so long at the top. It would be hard for him to come in and lose. I don't know what he does. Like he's 36 years old. I feel like this is a win. Like maybe he wins this and then loses this and retires. Like that. That's how weird that would be for him. I don't think he does, but I got Michael Page. He cares about his career. He's got insane power, insane speed, insane reflexes. He can jump out of this building for flying knees. He has shattered a dude's skull before. But yeah, on to the next one. In my opinion, could be the fight of the year right here. Dustin the Diamond Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis. What else do we need in this world? This is gonna be a crazy fight. Um, and I think it's for 5 rounds, right? I'm pretty sure it's for 5 rounds. Uh, but let me talk about it a little. I'm gonna look into that real quick. Um, so initially, it's hard to pick against Dustin Poirier because of his resume. He's beaten Connor. He's been around for so long. It's just hard to pick against him uh, with a new up and comer. But he's talked so much about retirement, which isn't necessarily like a bad thing. Like, I kind of agree with him. Like, at a point in your career, you do kind of have to realize at any point it's gonna be the end. Like, that's how this sport works. It's not like basketball where you get to have a slow decline and your contract slowly dwindle down, but people still love you and want you to be there. That's how the NBA is. Here in the UFC, you get brutally KO'd multiple times. You're getting brain damage. It's it's a quick decline in MMA. I don't know if Dustin Poirier is necessarily like declining, so I'm not worried about him looking old or slow or anything. But I don't know if he has that same drive of a guy like Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit is a special service in France. Like he was special services in France, I believe. It, and the way he fights is kind of scary. He's a marauder. He doesn't necessarily have the best hands, but he's super durable and he wrestles. And you know what? Dustin Poirier struggles against wrestlers when they implement it. And there's also gonna be the highlight that Benoit just had against Matt Favola. It was not great competition. I can recognize that if we're just doing MMA math and looking at their current records, you have to say Dustin Poirier wins. But this is how MMA works at the end of the day. There's gonna be these new guys, these Ilia Topuria, Benoit Saint Denis, Jack Della Maddalena, that are gonna come in and they're gonna bulldoze your favorite fighter, and it's sad every time. But it's gonna happen. It's just how this sport works. We don't just get to have Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, Michael Chandler, and Conor McGregor in the top 5 of lightweight forever. I'm sorry, that's not reality. Eventually, they're gonna have like Brian Ortega should not be sitting as a top 5 contender for multiple years without a win. You know, but this is just how this sport works. the young and hungry lion like Benoit Saint Denis comes in and knocks out or submits a guy like Dustin Poirier. And that's exactly what I'm going with is Benoit Saint Denis by finish. I could see ground and pound. I could see him catching something with Poirier, a head kick. He's going to throw a lot of body kicks. And Poirier's going to start bringing down his hands. He's going to start adjusting his shorts. And he's going to get like he's going to be in the middle of adjusting his shorts. And Benoit is going to throw a 1-2 same side head kick. And we're going to get a recreation of Justin Gaethje. No, I'm just kidding. That would be wild, though, if he got back-to-back head kick KO'd with his guard up, same side. That would be outrageous. It's sad. It really is. I had a short like period last week where I was kind of on the Dustin side just because of the experience and how slick his boxing is. But I just, when you put him against a wrestler who can put on a crazy pace, he gets tired. When he gets down, he really doesn't do anything. When Charles took him down, he literally held guard and held on for dear life. Same thing when he fought against Michael Chandler. Maybe Benoit keeps the scramble going more and he's able to get to his feet a couple more times because it is a different style. Like Benoit isn't the kind of guy who's just going to hold a position. He's trying to kill you out there. He is going to go full speed until he either gets brutally KO'd with a 1-2 and then he's rocked and he's on the fence and Poirier he adjusts his shorts, he flicks his hair a couple times, he puts his jab at his jab in southpaw and then he throws his left right down the pipe and then he starts throwing combos, maybe leg kick, and he'll just start barraging with hooks when you're really hurt, and then we see Benoit fall against the cage. I just don't see that. I see Benoit probably gets hurt, like hit pretty hard, and maybe we see him rocked. But he's so durable. He's such a savage. He's bigger than Dustin, according to this. I'll have to see them really stand next to each other. But for now, I got Benoit by finish in the second or third round. It would be sad to see. We might see a Dustin Poirier retirement. I hope not. I really do. There are some good, really fun fights for him, and he's still super entertaining. But I think it's just like this is just how MMA is. So, and I'm pretty confident in Benoit's skill set against a guy like Dustin Poirier, regardless of how MMA is. So I got Benoit Saint Denis. And on to the main event of the evening. Sugar Show O'Malley versus Marlon Cheeto Vera. I'm a bit worried about this fight, guys. I hope it's good. I think it can be good. Marlon, it's your job to make it exciting. And I think that's how you should fight. You do not get hurt. I've never seen Marlon Vera get hurt. I've never seen him get scratched. This dude is made out of vibranium, adamantium, whatever you want to call it. But he's one of the like I don't get it because he has crazy cardio from everything I've ever heard about this dude. Like he's like Tony Ferguson basically, but he doesn't try pushing a crazy pace. He just waits in the pocket, eats shots on his guard, and he gets hit with big shots too all the time. And then he's just going to throw one big bomb, try to kill you right there. And he gets a lot of fraudulent wins doing it. He has been losing against basically every single one of these guys that he has KO'd. Like that's those are all careers. Those are at the buzzer, bang. You know, Sean O'Malley was beating him up. Yeah, it was one round, but he was missing shots after he kicked Sean O'Malley in the leg. Now, that was 4 years ago. I can't say that. I bet you he's improved, but so is Sean O'Malley by a lot. By a lot, a lot. He doesn't have like that. The leg kicks aren't a huge threat for him anymore, you know? So I just feel like this is too high level for him. Like he's lost. Was losing to Sean O'Malley. He lost to Jose Aldo. He beat Davy Grant. Okay, he was losing to very old Frankie Edgar, and then landed a front kick from the heavens. Out cold, down goes Frankie. Rob Font was piecing him up in every single one of those rounds, except for maybe the fourth and the fifth. I can't remember exactly, but at the end of every single round, Marlon would land one shot that would really hurt Rob, and he'd be stumbling and bumbling all over the place. But Rob would come back the next round, and the same exact thing would happen. Rob would be piecing him up, and then out of nowhere, big shot. Rob's rocked all over the place. He looks like it's about to get finished, and he wins the rounds doing that. Dominic Cruz. You want to talk about a bad chin? Dominic Cruz was beating him. Dominic Cruz doesn't beat people anymore, and then he gets head kicked in the nose. That sucks. Fluky ass wins. I can't rely on his wins. That Pedro fight was boring. He got dominated by Corey Sandhagen. Absolutely dominated. And Corey was hurt and just bullied him, and he couldn't do anything. He was frozen. Frozen like Elsa. You know? Sean O'Malley is so good. So good. I rewatched the Sean O'Malley and Peter Yan fight so many times in the build up to this card. I I, I still have I got Sean O'Malley winning that. It's just by a hair. It's so close, but they were both so good in that fight, and I don't know. Sean is one of the sickest strikers in UFC history, point blank, period. So, what? Why did I say that I'm worried about this fight? I'm worried that Cheeto is gonna stall and he's gonna be waiting for his moment, and Sean O'Malley is gonna turn into Israel Adesanya against Yoel Romero because he knows everything Vera throws is gonna be a bomb. So he's gonna just sort of stick on the outside, and he's gonna throw 1-2, and then he's gonna be right back out, and then he'll throw a cheap to the body, 1-1-2, a 2-1-2. You know, he's gonna be just on the outside, picking him apart, and Cheeto's just gonna be shelling up, and he's gonna get tired. I think he won't get tired. I didn't mean that, but he might get frustrated. That's what I kind of anticipate, which is why I'm going with a Sean O'Malley knockout. I know I just praised his durability because he's probably the most durable fighter in UFC history. This dude doesn't get hurt. But I got Sean O'Malley by KO. I think Vera's going to start out really slow. O'Malley's going to be making it look easy. Maybe Vera lands one or two big shots. But then O'Malley starts putting combos on him. And Vera starts running in, trying to get stuff off on him. And I think O'Malley's too slick for him. You saw what he did to Aljamain Sterling. That's his timing, his speed. I just think Vera is in for a bad night. Even if he doesn't knock him out, like there's this like small part of me that's like Sean O'Malley is known for like breaking his hand or something. But I'm just ultimately not too worried about it. I mean, O'Malley was dodging Cheeto's shots on one foot, bro. Uh, So ultimately, Sean O'Malley by knockout. Let me say the third round. One, two. No, it's going to be one of the hooks, bro. It's going to be one of his hooks in tight. Maybe he goes off to the side and throws, like, he'll do a hook and then he'll go off to the side and then 1-2 down the pipe. Out cold, Marlon Cheeto Vera. And that would be outrageous for us to end the night in Miami like that. I'm so excited for this card, and I hope you guys are too. I put a lot of time and effort into creating this video, so I'd really appreciate that if you stuck around this long. Thank you so much, first of all. But please like, comment, and subscribe. You liking and commenting makes me want to do this more. I'm so excited to do this more. But thank you guys so much, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.